Hey folks, welcome back to Vocab Booster. In this video we are going to learn 10 most crucial words. So let's get started. Our first word is capricious. Capricious means a person who has no control in his mood or behavior. It can change suddenly. It means a person who has absolutely no control. You don't know how he will react. If you say anything bad to him which he may not like him, you don't know how he will react. He might start appraising you. He might start lauding you, or he might start beating you, might start hitting you, who knows. So that kind of person is known as a capricious person, because you don't know how he will react, right? Let's see its synonyms, which are unpredictable, right? Unpredictable, you cannot predict how he is going to behave, how he is going to react. Unsteady, both mean the same and can be used interchangeably, know that. See its antonyms, which are predictable. You can predict how one will behave, you can predict it. He is constant, his mood will not change, right? See its first example, which is he's such a capricious boss. It means he's such a boss that you cannot examine that how he will behave, how his mood will change, how his behavior will change. You cannot assess this, you cannot predict this, right? And I do not know how he will react. So that's what this statement is trying to say, that he is such a capricious boss. I do not know how he will react, right? I hope you got this example. Let us see our second example, which says it's difficult to find a job for him because of his capricious nature. Because a person who is very capricious in nature, it means his mood, his behavior suddenly changes. No one knows how he will react the next time, right? So that's what this statement is saying, that it's difficult to find a job for him because of his capricious nature. His mood changes constantly, his mood gets changed, right? So obviously for such person it will be difficult to get a job. Let's see our next example, word. Our next word is chronic. Chronic means, this word is used about a disease or a problem that continues for a long time, that somebody has been having for a very long time. Like any disease like diarrhea, cancer, that suppose one is suffering from any disease like cancer, right? And he has been suffering from that disease from a very long time, then you can say he is suffering from a chronic disease, right? See its synonyms, which are persistent, continuous. One is continuously suffering from a disease, so he has a chronic disease because he has been suffering for a very long time, and that disease lasts for a long time. See its antonyms, which are occasional, unusual. See these are the exact opposite words of persistent and continuous. It doesn't happen usually, it happens occasionally, it happens unusually, all right? See the first example, which says he is suffering with a chronic disease. See, what does it mean? A chronic disease means a disease or a problem that continues for a long time. This is a kind of disease which continues for a long time, right? See our second example, which says my brother's chronic drinking has nearly destroyed his liver. See here, what do you mean by chronic drinking? Chronic drinking means he has been drinking for a very long time, right? He has been drinking that beer, alcohol, whatever, for a very long time. That is why this statement is saying that it's his chronic drinking has nearly destroyed his liver. Okay, I hope you got this. Let us see our next word, which is colossal. Colossal means something or someone that is extremely large. As you can see in the picture, I have added one picture, one plane which is extremely large, as you can see. Okay, see its synonyms, which are huge, enormous, giant, right? And take a look at its antonyms, which are micro, little, exact opposite words of colossal. See the first example, it says he lives in a colossal palace. It means the place where he lives, his bungalow, is colossal, is enormous. He lives in a giant palace, right? See our second example, which says Boeing planes are generally colossal. Yeah, it's true. Boeing planes are generally enormous. They're giant. They're very big as compared to the rest of planes. Okay, let us see our next word, conclave. Conclave means a confidential or secret meeting, especially for one that has a special authority or powers. Yeah, So see, note that this is not a normal meeting, this is a secret meeting. Conclave means a kind of secret meeting, especially for one who has special authority or powers. See its synonyms, which are conference, cabinet, okay, and take a look at its antonyms, which is nothing but its opposite: public meeting, public gathering, where public is involved. This is a kind of meeting where public is involved. But on the other hand, conclave is a kind of meeting where this meeting will not be publicized, right? It will only be attended by some special authority or powers. See the first example, which says the conclave of politicians was held on Friday. The conclave, the confidential meeting, a secret meeting of politicians was held on Friday. See our second example, which says one member of each group was present at the conclave. One member of each group was present at the conclave representing his or her city. So the second example basically says a kind of confidential meeting is going to organize, and the group of a member of every group will be representing his or her city, and they will be attending the conclave, which is a secret meeting. Know that. Take our next word. See our next word, which is condone. Condone means to accept or agree with something that most people think is wrong or morally wrong, right? It means you are accepting something that most of the people think is wrong, it's morally wrong, but you are accepting that thing, so you condone that thing, right? See its synonyms. These are deliberately ignore. You deliberately ignore that something is morally wrong. You're ignoring that thing, that part of it, that it is morally wrong. You're ignoring that, right? Take no notice of. You're not taking notice of that this is a bad thing. You don't see it as a bad thing. See its antonyms. You completely refuse. Yeah, it means you deny. You deny. You accept that, yeah, this is morally wrong. It should not happen. You refuse it. You deny it. That you are not going to accept it. Okay? See the first example. The company does not condone using illegal softwares. It means the company does not condone using illegal softwares. The company does not accept or agree that most of the people think is morally wrong. The company does not condone, right? So the company thinks that using illegal software is wrong, is a wrong practice. We should not use that. So the company does not support that. Okay, let us see our second example, which says the law does not condone violence. It means the law does not support violence, because most of the people think it's wrong, and it is actually. So the law does not condone violence. The law does not support violence, right? Let us see our next word, which is conundrum. Conundrum means a confusing and difficult problem or question or riddle. See its synonyms, which is enigma. Enigma is also a kind of conundrum, a difficult problem. Oh no, it's more of a confusing problem, not a difficult problem. It's a riddle, right? You have to use your brain to find out the solutions of these problems. See its antonyms. These antonyms, the antonyms of confusing problem or riddle would be explanation, its solution. The opposite of any question would be its answer, its solution. So it's quite obvious. Let us see our first example, which says the conundrum is that I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere without my cell phone. The conundrum is that, it means a confusing situation is that I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere without my cell phone. I don't have my cell phone, and I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where I am, and I do not even have my cell phone. So who do I contact? So this is a kind of confusing situation or a difficult problem, right? Let us see our next example, which says although the mechanic tried to identify the conundrum with the car, he was unable to pinpoint the issue. See, this statement is saying the mechanic who is repairing the vehicle, he tried to identify the problem with the car, but he was unable to pinpoint the issue. He was unable to find out what the issue was, right? Because mechanic tried to identify the conundrum, he tried to identify the confusing problem, but he was unable to do that, right? Let us see our next word, which is covert. Covert means secret or hidden or done something secretly, especially when special forces of army, they initiate many operations, they launch many covert operations to do some special task. See its synonyms, which are undercover, confidential. It's not known to public. Very few people, a handful of people know about this. That is called covert. It's secret, it's hidden, it's not known to everyone. See its antonyms, which are obvious, unclassified, known to everyone. It's in public domain, everybody has access to this information. See, soldiers. The first example, soldiers often take part in covert operations to infiltrate an enemy's territory. Yeah, it's true, soldiers often take part in secret operations, in covert operations to infiltrate an enemy's territory. They get into enemy's territory, they kill them, and they come back. So this is all about covert operations. Okay, let us see our second example, which is the criminals usually do their covert deeds at night when they are less likely to be discovered. Beautiful sentence. See, the criminals, the thieves, they usually do their secret deeds at night. You know why? Because they are less likely to be discovered. Nobody can catch them in night because everybody sleeps, right? I hope you got this example. Let us see our next word, which is capsize. Capsize means, this word capsize is used about boats when the boats turn over in the water. So in that context we use this word, and especially for boats. You can't say that the truck capsized or the bike capsized. Especially this word is used for boats. When the boats turn over, we use this word capsize. See its synonyms, which are overturn, fall. Okay, now let us take a look at the antonyms, which are raise, erect. It means to raise the boat, to erect the boat. I hope you got this. See the first example, which says his boat was capsized by a big wave. It means his boat was overturned by a big wave. His boat was fell by a big wave, right? Let us see our next example, which says if you take your boat in a storm, then it is obvious that your boat will be capsized. If you take your boat out in a storm, then it is obvious, it's quite obvious that your boat will be overturned. Your boat is going to be overturned, because if you are taking out the boat in a storm, the storm will overturn your boat. Okay, let us see our next word, which is congregation. Congregation means the act of coming together in a crowd or group, right? Where a large number of people gather together, especially for a religious purpose. There we use this word congregation. See its synonyms, which are gathering, crowd, and its antonyms are obvious, alone. The opposite of gathering would be alone. Isolation, to isolate yourself from others. It means you're keeping yourself alone, to stay alone. See its first example, which says the members of the congregation bowed their heads in prayer, right? The members of the gathering, they bowed their heads in prayer. Okay, see the second example, which says religious congregation often take place in an open area. Religious congregation, whenever people congregate, whenever people gather for a religious purpose, they often take place in an open area, right? Let us see our next word, which is chastise. Chastise means to criticize or punish somebody for doing something wrong. Like as you can see in the picture, one mother is criticizing or rebuking his son because he has done something wrong. And always make sure you see the pictures that I add. It will make an impression in your brain so that you can remember it for a long time. See its synonyms, which are scold, rebuke. Scold means you criticize someone, you punish somebody for doing something wrong. Okay, you're scolding him, you're rebuking him, right? You're shouting at him, you're criticizing him because he or she have done something wrong. And its antonyms would be pardon. You pardon him, you spare him, you leave him, right? See the first example, he chastised his son because he didn't go to school. There is a father who chastised his son, who criticized his son, right? Who is scolding his son because he did not go to school. Okay, let us see our next example, which says some teachers are always ready to chastise their students. Yeah, it's damn true. There are some teachers who are always ready to chastise their students, who are always ready to shout at their students, to rebuke their students. They're always ready. Okay, so this was our last word. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching Vocab Booster. We'll meet you in the next video.